let's give it one more minute to maybe some others will be able to attend. Okay, let's get started. No, Craig won't be able to join us today. So hello everyone, today is December 9th. This is Enablement 14.5 release retrospective. And first of all, I noticed Nick is back to his usual place. So welcome back.
Good to be back. The full setup.
Yeah, your dog must miss you. Okay, let's get started. Today we'll start from the actions follow-up. So Craig is not here, but I will verbalize his action item. There was one for him suggestion that try at earlier time to see if we can get non-management participation. Yes. So I actually I should paste my answer here. I forgot to adjust this incident, this instance, but actually I made a one-off change for the January retro, pushed out to the 13th because of the holiday, and also moved up to the 8 a.m. PST or 4 p.m. UTC. We'll see how that works. And then depending how that works, we may alternate the time to accommodate the different time zones. So that's where I'm thinking. So that's an item crossed out. And the next one was me, and just a blog post for the DB migration tools when it's GA. So it's not GA yet, so we will keep this on. But Alex, are you okay to carry this on?
Yeah, for the database migration testing tools?
Yes.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have an, I thought we added an issue for this, but I don't see it. So I'll make sure there's an issue for us to do one as a part of that epic.
Yeah, so I'll assign this to you once we GA to just to make a blog post. Okay, next item, Alex and Nick, suggestions to improve the retrospective participation. You want to update, verbalize your updates?
Nick?
Sure. I wasn't sure if this comment up here was something from Alex, but I can go. Yeah, I think participation was a little better this time around, but still pretty light. We did hold a mini retro, so I just opened a separate issue when we closed our single promotion command epic, and I thought that yielded some pretty valuable insights. And I think in general, remembering to hold these mini retros and RCAs when right after significant work is closed. So prompting discussion around the specific work can generate more participation than asking for general feedback about the milestone. So it's one of those things that it's valuable, but have to remember to do it when the time is right. So I think we'll keep trying that, see how that goes.
For us, I feel like we got kind of a late start on our retrospective overhaul. So I think that maybe made it a little bit lighter than it otherwise would be, but we actually already have comments coming in on the 14.6 retro. So I think we'll have more stuff more participation in that one, I hope.
That's cool. Okay, Steven and DJ, on the item you have.
Yeah, so what we didn't do here is we didn't log an issue to follow up on this. So that's something I'll take on and go ahead and do. But even without that, we did make some related progress this release. So the team had, in the same vein to documenting technical requirements, we did add an issue template to our team tasks that really outlines what we're looking for when we're making those technical decisions, which will feed into then documenting them. The piece we're missing is still the process for like where and how to document them once we've made those decisions. But we are in a better place for that, and I'll open an issue for this so we can get this worked on, closed out.
Great, cool. Okay, we have many items checked off. So let's move on to what went well. Let's just go around. I will verbalize for Craig's items. DJ, with you.
Yeah.
Start. Yeah.
Yeah. So for what went well with the build distribution team, so this in 14.5, we were able to quickly validate that our existing packages for 14.5 were going to work well on Alma Linux. There was a lot of communication and investigation around this, but that took a little bit of time. But when it came to when we came to a decision of what we wanted to validate, the validation went very quickly, and that allowed us to also include support for this a little earlier than anticipated. We had anticipated that 14.5 would be like a beta support for this, but the validation, we managed to get in early enough to say that 14.5 was the full GA support for it. So that went well, and over to you, Alex.
Yeah, one of our big win for the last milestone, which in general the team kind of agreed that last milestone was just like really good for us, but our big win was overall like very impactful on the size of the database. We managed to reduce the total size by 2 terabytes, and this was through a combination of a few different things. A large part of that was the final implementations for the time decay retention strategy for the webhook log partitions, and we finally started expiring that data, so that's pretty exciting. We also did some other cleanup that had some bloat reduction, so that was exciting too.
Okay, next one from Craig. Next one is from Craig. So great engagement from the release on our rollout plan of the sharding working composition project. And from Dylan, the comment is, this is going to be key to identifying blockers or conflicting work early and shipping on time. I'm seeing great questions, and it shows that people are understanding how the plan will impact the other teams. So that's a great progress. Over to you, CZ.
Yeah, for the global search team, the team made a great improvement on search performance through a series of actions. For the memory team, we were able to make good progress on both Redis and also the cyclic matrix extraction ethics. Yeah, that's from me. Over to Nick.
Thanks. So for Geo, one comment from Douglas about the single promotion command work, validating the command with GitLab environment toolkit against our reference architectures gave us confidence to release the new command. In addition, we could find and fix minor issues that would be hard to find out if we didn't have this tool in place to more easily test on different architectures. And then a comment from Akriti. We shipped significant self-service framework verification performance improvements and refactors, which unblocked us to make a number of releases in 14.6 and 14.7.
Cool. Okay, let's move on to what didn't go well. So Steven, starting with you as the first item.
What didn't go well? I think I alluded to this in our staff meeting earlier. The Kubernetes 122 support sort of ballooned as the further we got into it, and it was one that we ended up not completing in the previous release, and we pushed it into current release. We're still actually working on it, getting the last pieces aligned. There were several like large changes that needed to happen. We've got most of that ready to go, so it should land in this release, but it did have to get pushed into this release. So that's basically it. The crux of it there. Any questions? Kubernetes 123 was released earlier this week.
Oh, so we are. What's our plan? I mean, skip the.
I spoke with Dylan about it. 119, I believe, is going to be our low point for version wise, and so it's mainly like OpenShift, the new versions of OpenShift. If we want to get certified on there, OpenShift 4.9 supports Kubernetes 122. And so for us to be certified and on the marketplace, we have to be able to support that. So that's been the big push. I think 123, I talked to Jason, it looks like the changes between 122 and 123 are much, very minor compared to getting to 122. And so we're suspecting that it'll be a light lift once we get everything working on 122.
Cool. Thank you. Didnt.
Yeah, so another thing that didn't go well in distribution was we in 14.5 did not ship a Mattermost update. So typically we bring in a new Mattermost feature update with every GitLab feature update every month. This previous release, the Mattermost update was large. They're moving to a new major version, and that involves a lot of extra steps, and even the starting point to that came in basically too late to make it into the release. So we were not able to get it in for 14.5. It's already in place for 14.6 though. So this was missed, but was a matter of being not started soon enough. Cool. Any questions?
No. Not for me. Any questions? Okay, I'll verbalize Craig's item. So the phase 3 of the decomposition deployment actually took longer than anticipated, and resulting in one milestone slip in our timeline. So the whole project now is one milestone or one release behind the schedule. Any questions? Then over to you, CZ.
So for the global search, there was one time that our air budget dropped to 15% overall availability. Even though it turned out it's not because of us, it was because some exception in the air budget framework change. It reminded us that we didn't have a good knowledge on how the air budget was calculated. So the team felt we need to get some knowledge on how the air budget is calculated.
Yeah, by the way, it was good. I mean, the team made a great effort. Now the air budget is back to green. So that's something I want to highlight, even though there was a dip there.
Thanks.
Nick?
Yeah, we ran into some unexpected test failures after the MR to enable secondary proxying was merged to master, requiring the MR to be reverted and the flaky tests addressed. And that was after already addressing some kind of flaky tests in the MR itself, and thinking it was okay to merge, and then discovering some other issues after it actually was merged. So caused the feature to slip 14.5, but we're back on track to announce it in 14.6.
Cool. And let's move to what can we do to improve. And Stephen, can you have the first item?
Yeah, similar in theme to our previous one. The Kubernetes 1.2.2 upgrade has really shown us that we've got a lot of manual testing happening to validate things. And so one of the things that we'd like to do is, rely less on manual testing and get more automated coverage happening for these common upgrades that we need to do.
So do we, what's our plan? Is there an issue to track this? And is there any discussion with the QE to ramp up here?
I believe there's an issue to track it. I don't believe we've engaged QA on it.
Okay.
I can follow up on that.
Yeah, thank you. I'll leave that to you. We have an issue to track that.
Yeah, I'll dig up the issue.
Yeah, thank you. And DJ.
Yeah, so one of the other things we've identified for improvement is related to providing updated packages for new versions of distributions. So, one of the things we've identified is that, as a new version comes out, typically that also is signaling that there's going to be a version that we're currently supporting that's going to reach its end of life, and that we really need to prioritize ensuring there's overlap between those two versions with GitLab's packages, meaning that there's a period of time in which we're providing packages for both the old version and the new version, so that our users have the best opportunity to upgrade.
Questions? Okay, I'll verbalize Craig's comment here. So tightening up the feedback loop with our infra partners. Actually, the bystander effect was observed while deploying the phase 3 changes. So it cost us some time there, but we already have a plan going forward for faster feedback. So the plan was getting a closer interaction with all the stakeholders, and also we just established a stand-up with the major stakeholders on the decomposition project. So we have a mitigation plan here. Okay, CZ.
So Terry mentioned that in the retrospective issue, there is a link to the issue that we closed during that release. But that link is only pointing to the GitLab org group. So for our team, in the 14.5 release, we also worked on some of the change requests on the Elasticsearch infrastructure side, which were under the GitHub.com user group. So we were thinking whether we should add a link to include the issue that we closed under GitHub.com group as well. So I think I will check that as an action item for the next time. For the memory team, the team has been working on the Ruby 3 upgrade up to a point that we had to pause it due to other priorities and also some external dependencies. This won't be finished in a short time. So we have to watch how we keep the change as close as possible to the master branch. Right now, the changes are all sitting on a separate branch.
Okay.
That's for me.
Yeah, so Move Ruby 3. Okay, so the Ruby 3 upgrade, maybe you also need to follow up with the distribution team to make sure we are coordinated.
Yes, I believe Matthias and DJ, they have the communication of the time.
Okay, good. Nick?
Yeah, this one came from Fabian from the product perspective. When defining the single command epic, he had created a large number of small issues. And it ended up not being necessary to really have all those issues because they ended up being closed. A bunch of them ended up being closed with by Douglas with a single or just a couple MRs. So he said he learned that it makes much more sense to start epics with a small number of issues that are well defined and coordinated with the engineering team, and then we'll always open up more when needed, and that's more efficient. And I think that is also something I guess kind of goes along with improving on iteration and looking at MVCs and not trying to over plan an epic. So definitely something we'll keep in mind for breaking down future epics. And then the next item, something that Akriti commented on as she's was using rolling out feature flags. She's noticing that since it's just one feature flag rollout issue template that covers both enabling and removing the feature flag, she was kind of having to do some weird stuff to work around it if she wanted to track it over 2 milestones. So she was creating 2 issues from the same template, and then one for enabling and one for removing the feature flag. So it's kind of a small annoyance, but we just want to get some feedback on if there are any better ways to track the feature flag rollout across 2 milestones without needing to carry over the same issue or kind of clone the template. So if suggestions do come up for that, I think they would be probably have a pretty wide ranging effect. So I think it would be a good thing to get, if there are any suggestions for this from the team or others, get some input across development. There are a couple of people I can think of already who have taken a particular interest in rollout type of processes, like Michelle Gill comes to mind. I think she had made an update to the handbook page. So I think I'll put it as an action item to follow up with the team for ideas, but also follow up with Michelle and maybe anyone else who's been involved in rollout discussions, rollout process discussions recently to get their input.
Cool, great. Any questions about this? So we are going pretty well, and it's already end of the agenda, and no questions. Looks like we had a very nice release. Of course, some hiccups, but identified how we improve. And I summarized several action items for next retro. So CD, you have one suggestion there. Please make the improvement to the template. I linked the template here. So just to add make an MR to improve the template. And I have an item that just a reminder to all the managers, please forward the invite to your team members. Yes, I didn't include everybody, and intended to have all the EMs to forward that. So please go ahead if you haven't forwarded yet. And summarize, Stephen, from the improvement proposals. So let's track the operator testing automation and get it.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And then Nick, while you're typing, you want to verbalize?
Yes, for the action item. Yeah, just to get input from the team, as well as others who have generally participated in rollout process discussions, and get input on the feature flag rollout issue template.
Sounds good. Okay, that's the end of our retro for 14.5, and Mitch is here. Mitch, you have something to say? Welcome.
Thank you. No, I was just listening in while I worked on some other stuff. Saw the notification pop up. Thanks.
Yeah, cool. Apologies, I intended to have the EMs to forward the invitation, but I didn't make that clear to everybody. So next time, everybody will be invited. We have we have an action item here to forward the invitation to every team member.
Sounds good. I get to be the special one today.
Cool. Thanks for attending. Okay, that's all for the 14.5. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.